Hello, everyone. You know it's Tuesday. It is May 23rd, 2023. We are glad to be back with y'all once again here on Walking His Ways Impact Work Podcast. So I want to say hello. Welcome here. We welcome our listening audience to another episode of Walking His Ways Impact Work Podcast. I'm your host, Freeman Jackson Jr. Also with me again is the spicy one herself, Desiree. Desiree, how are you doing this
I
evening?
am I am so fabulous. I am so excited to introduce everybody to Miss Althea here and let her tell us all about She Vets It. And so it's been a great day.
Well, you know what? The day is always great, and we know we're glad to see this day. We know that the Most High allowed us to see this day, so it's always a pleasure. One more time to be in your presence, Desiree, and also in the presence of our guests. So, also on this episode, our guest has an impressive resume. Our guest is a retired Army veteran. She's an award-winning Chamber of Commerce executive motivational speaker. She's an accomplished woman, veteran, entrepreneur, and community leader. She was recognized as one of the top women to watch in 2022 by Success Sister magazine. And so we want our guests to go ahead and introduce yourself to our listening audience. So go ahead.
Hey, hello, hi. Thank you so much for having me here.
And awesome. And we thank you, Miss Williams, for hanging out with us on this great evening. We got to give a big shout out, Desiree, to those who listen to us right now, whether you're watching this on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, we got to give a big shout out to those who follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all social media platforms. We get started, and we know that we have an awesome woman with us tonight, Desiree. Like I said, she has a quite impressive resume. I know you was on her podcast last
Yes.
Thursday afternoon, and that's how it all came about. So, you're the founder of She Vets It here in the DFW. Let the audience know who you are, what you're about, what you're doing, the impact you're making here in the DFW.
Oh my goodness, when you were reading my resume, I was like, "Who's that?" No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much for having me here. Oh my goodness, everything that I'm doing like this moment, I didn't even expect to be doing this. It kind of grew out of trauma and an accident that I had in the military, and it was only because I was searching to find healing within myself for myself after having a traumatic brain injury. And so I use the internet as a way to sharpen my mind because I was like, okay, I got to sharpen what I have. And so I started putting resources that I would see and come across online, which is was actually helping me to use my mind like, okay, I got to put this here, I got to do that. And the more I started doing it, it was helpful for others. But then I started taking wave and I got on Clubhouse. And before long, during the pandemic, it grew into a large community of women veterans and just veterans in general. And so I'm just surprised today what I'm doing. Like I said, to have She Vets It, it just grew by, I say I found my purpose by accident. And that's technically because I got in an accident to get the TBI. Like, no pun intended for myself, but yes, I got the accident.
You have a quite impressive story. I know you mentioned the trauma that you experienced, and just listen to your story, how determined you were to keep moving forward, progressing forward. Because we have some people who give up, just throwing the towel when things happen. But I know you're one of many individuals who keep pressing on. Not just that, but you're giving back to others. You're impacting other people's lives, and I see a lot of quite interviews that you have done on social media platforms, the way you carry yourself, how you articulate your words. You know what you're talking about. to engage with people and how to get people in. And I just want to give you your roses now for the
Thank
work that
you.
you've done. Not than that, I salute you too for being a veteran. I know my family is a military family. My dad was in the army, my uncle army, cousin Air Force. I had one cousin; she went to the Marines. So a lot of other family cousins Army, and I know that the success that it brought them. My next thing is I want Desiree. I know she was on your podcast. How did that connection come about? I want to know how did that connection come about?
Well, honestly, I don't know what took her so long, right? So that's like the real $1 million question here is what took her so long. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, the story behind Althea and I meeting is that she was hosting her first in-person event, and it was supposed to be her and another partner. Some unfortunate things happened, and it kind of just was like Althea was going to do this thing, and so I saw it on Eventbrite, and I was like, she vets it. Oh hell yeah, I love this. Like the name alone was like, I'm in. So I sent her a message and I was like, I want to know more. She reaches out to me, and what should have been just kind of like a 5-minute conversation, well, with me, was never a 5-minute conversation, okay? And so, hey, Jaquan. And so it turned into us brainstorming as, let's face it, powerful women can do when we get to collaborating, right? So
Yes.
she was telling me about how she had her podcast and that she'd been doing that for a while, but she wanted to branch out. So I was like, okay. She's like, but I'm nervous. This is my first time. I don't know how many people are coming. And I said, oh, we're going to have people coming. And so the next thing you know, I'm sending her out, I'm tagging her in all kinds of emails or, CCing her in emails. And then they're replying back and they're asking me questions because they were community partners I knew. And I'm like, I don't know the answer to this. And so I'm between emailing, texting, calling each other. She ended up having a phenomenal event. Sadly, let me just go ahead and put it out there. I did not get to attend the event. Of all of the, side hustle I was helping her to do, I was actually on my way to her event. I had attended 3 events earlier that day, and I'm on my way to it, and all of a sudden, lucky me, I get a blowout. So I'm like sending her pictures and I'm texting and I'm like, out there, I'm on the side of the road. I don't know how long until roadside service comes. And so I missed the event, which just means we have to have another.
Yeah.
And so she's like, it's okay, don't worry about it. But I mean, the event turned out to be like what was supposed to be just kind of a small, introduction event. And there was 150 people in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
And so it turned out to be so amazing. And then since then, we have definitely, communicated, shared, resources with one another. We've actually got to be at the same events to where she's had her table. I've had mine with the city of Dallas. And, she's just been amazing. And so she messages me about something. And then she says, oh, by the way, do you think you would be okay coming on the podcast? I'm like, girl, I got this. Yes. And so I went online, I filled out my date, and then that's what came of it on Thursday.
Can I add something? So
I'm scared.
No. You're good. So going back to when we first connected, so there was someone who said, oh, she was with me and we do this meeting every Thursday. And so she was like, yeah, we could do this together. Let's do a little veteran social. And I'm like, yeah, that'll be cool. It was supposed to be something small. But then I connected with the university I was going to, where my neurologists and different people were. They actually help veterans with traumatic brain injury. So I said, you know what? Maybe, since I already have people online, why not I feature an organization in person? But mind you, the person that said they would do this with me, she changed jobs. And I'm like, ah! So then I was like, okay, Lord, because everything I do is faith-based. So I'm like, okay, Lord, you put it in my heart to do this. This is going to be too much for me. I don't know if I should do this. And so literally I was just feeling like that. Like, I don't know if I should just continue on doing this because by this time it was probably August and it was supposed to be in November. I was like, maybe I just cancel it and just be done with it. Cause it's a lot for me, and so Desiree called me, and when she called me and she was like, oh, I'm gonna call this person, and I already told somebody about this and this and this. I'm like, okay, Lord, that was my sign. You want me to continue on with this. And so she really, God just used her to give me a message to go on with it. And it was a wonderful event. I had Parker University there who helped veterans that experienced a traumatic brain injury, which was myself. And so I said, in the proceeds, I received nothing for this event. Everything went to Parker University to make sure another veteran could be funded to go through the program, because everything is free for veterans that go through their program. So I so appreciate you just being led to really connect with me, Desiree. It was, like I said, it was wonderful. Matter of fact, a radio station contacted me out the blue too, around the same time, and said, "Hey, we would love to come out to your event, put it on our page and all that." So it was wonderful. Like it was a wonderful event. And so because of that, and those that were connected with me that came out, I, I was asked to also be I'm on the Frisco Veteran Advisory Committee, and that's where we're actually now going to be doing the Veteran Resource Expo in September. So September 20th and 21st. So that kind of led to that, because I did that event. It led to something bigger.
And she's being so nice about it for me. And that's what I love, because I kid you not, she was at the airport, I think in baggage claim, and I'm blowing her up. And she's like, Desiree. And I'm like, no, I need answers. Like, are you checking this stuff? And I was like, this is all good stuff. Like, look at it's all happening. And she just had patience with me, which, I mean, if you're going to be around me, you kind of have to have that patience with me. But it was just so amazing. And, honestly, it was just so nice having that new resource, especially a new resource for female veterans. That's what really touched me, because we do have so many, different organizations out there. But even whenever, Althea first had shared her story with me on that first introduction call, she was telling me about how she wasn't familiar with these resources to help, these female veterans, but then with a TBI. And so that's what kind of, motivated her to want to do what she did, and to have that podcast where other women could come on, share stories, share resources. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. And so I was blessed enough that she just kind of said, come on in.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I too, as you were reading my resume, I don't know if you mentioned, I used to run a chamber of commerce. And so I was trying to find my purpose. And I know you shared earlier, like, being able to transition and do this. Well, before I even got to that part, getting injured, I went through a dark period of not being the same person, and having the TBI. I couldn't remember people, and there was a lot of things going on. I have challenges today, but people just probably won't see it unless you're with me. You're like, okay, Althea. No, but I have challenges today, but it's not like I've been able to use different tools to kind of help me along the way. So I'm very, very grateful for that. But it was a long road to get to this point. And actually, she vets it. Doing this has helped me heal in a sense, because there's like some healing power in community, and finding other people that you can connect with and you can relate to, and you're not alone, and so you don't feel isolated. And that's the whole key during the pandemic, was like, oh my gosh, I know if it's tough for me, I need to connect with other women veterans so that they don't feel isolated as well.
And that's awesome. And just the work that you're doing, like I mentioned earlier, with you just giving back to other veteran women that was in the military, served in the military, just to give back, that they can have that hope, they can have that safe place they can go to and get the help. And like Desiree mentioned, the resources that's out there available. And I love how you respond quickly to the invitation to be here on the podcast with us tonight. I like that. I love that. You didn't say, let me get back with you, wait and see. You was right on it. I love that. I love the urgency. The hey, let's go ahead and get it done. I'm like this because tomorrow's not promised. So let's go ahead and make it happen. So I gotta say, I do respect that a lot.
Well, my people, they on vacation right now. I'm just kidding.
And and one thing I want to say too is right now next month is Women's Veterans Month. So for any female veterans that are listening or that go back and listen to this, we definitely want you to connect with Althea or myself so that if there is something that they're going through that they need resources on, I'm pretty sure between the two of us we're going to tackle it, and we can definitely provide those resources. And so, that was one of the things that I loved about her asking me to come on in the month of May, is to have that chance to use my voice to speak up about what we can offer for the female veterans, because it is very hard to see some female veterans. Believe it or not, as hard as it is for a male veteran to ask for assistance in something, I'm seeing less and less female veterans that are coming forward and saying, this has gone on with me, whether it's with, sexual, military trauma that's happened, they don't want to talk about it. Men don't want to talk about it either. Don't let me, discredit that. But, so we want there to be a safe outlet for the female veterans, and we want them to know you have just as many resources. It's just a matter of connecting with the right people and then, being given or provided those resources that you could utilize. And so it was an honor that she chose me to come in May, just before June. But I would love for Althea to tell everybody, and I'm going to brag on my friend here for a minute, about her being featured in this magazine. And so Althea, share that with everybody.
Oh my goodness, yes. So I was just featured in Frisco City Lifestyle magazine, and then also McKinney and Prosper magazine. And so I say this in the most humble way. I always say it's all God, because I feel like God kind of threw me in the deep. Like, he's like, yeah, just, put in my heart to just do, get online. That's what he said. So then I get online, and then all this is happening. So it's like kind of forcing me in the deep. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. So I really feel very, very honored. And I'm just very, very honored for all this. And it came in such a way that, June 6th, the mayor of Frisco will actually be doing a proclamation for Women's Veterans Day. I'm part of the Frisco Veteran Advisory Council, and I shared with them last year, hey, did you guys know that Veterans Day is June 12th, and it's been implemented since 2017. A lot of people don't know that. And so I was just talking to someone out in Chicago who's trying to get some things implemented out there. And I was saying, okay, it's cool to have it implemented on the state level, but if people don't know on the local level, it means really nothing. So yeah, the governor can sign that, but we got to hit it on the local level, where our local government officials and people in our community recognize us, because it's not just because we want to be seen. And this is why it's so important, because women veterans make up the fastest segment of the homeless population. And so usually when I go and someone asks me if I can speak, I'll say, hey, did you know, if I mention the word veteran, what comes to mind, male or female? Most of the time it's going to be a male. So if you're not realizing that women are veterans too, then guess what? You won't see the importance of addressing their issues. So that's why I wanted to be I think She Vets is more of a movement. I try not to be like the other organizations, because I love what everybody's doing. My thing is bring awareness to women veterans, but also to the organizations that serve them. So I didn't want to just be another women organization that's doing the same thing. I wanted to say, hey, you guys, did you hear about this organization or this organization? Because what happens is, when we're on base, when we're in the military and we're still in uniform, everything's at our arm reach. And so, you have the commissary, the medical, anything you need, you could find on base. You don't even have to leave base. But when you get out the military after serving possibly 20 years, and you got to fend for yourself, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. you may not necessarily need to know about Wounded Warrior Project because you're still in the military. So there's so many wonderful organizations that get funded to support our veterans. And I want, when I hear about Dallas Veteran Treatment Corp, Take Care Veterans citations, I was like, wow, our veterans need to know about that. And so that is the reason why I do that, bring different organizations on to bridge the gap.
And that's a beautiful thing that you're doing. And just like I said, I mentioned you have a impressive resume, of course, from top to bottom.
Thank you.
Just an awesome woman that you are. The work that you're doing, the accolades, the awards, the recognition. Did you ever imagine your life would be this way after serving, giving time to our country, then after retirement, just you making impact with people like have you ever imagined your life will be this way?
I had no idea. You know, I had plans. Like I thought I would probably, I joined the military with my MBA. So I thought, I'll do a couple of years, get out, be a school teacher, not a college instructor, I should say, and maybe write and things like that, and live a quiet life. I didn't think anything like what I'm doing now. And when I got the TBI and I couldn't remember, and my family had to do a lot of different things for me, that like I said, it was really depressing because I was a total different person. And I know if there's somebody out there and you're in that spot where you've gotten injured and you're not the same, there is a mourning process that you have to go through, accepting the new self versus the old self. Like for me, I had to accept the new me, and I had to give myself grace for, I may forget things, or I may let Desiree down. She might call me for something and I may forget because I didn't use the right tools to make sure that I put it in the book right or whatever. But I had to forgive myself or give myself grace to know that you have a TBI, this is a condition and you are doing good considering. And so that's what I had to do. And so like I said, where I'm at now, but when I look back, I was like, man, God had a plan for me before I even had a plan for myself. And I was just thinking, the things that he brought me through, the things that he showed me, like, running a chamber of commerce, working with different organizations, it prepared me for this. Joining the military at 39 and being able to look at life as a veteran, but not only as an older veteran, but see what it's like to possibly what our younger veterans are going through. My son joined the military before me. And so I was like, God prepared me for this. I had no idea, but he knew I would probably be doing this.
Yes, that's an amazing story. And, we're definitely excited to hear about what She Vets It is going to be offering, in the future. So when we come back from this commercial break, we are going to let you share all that good information with us.
Thank you.
With today's technological advances and fast-paced life, BMS is your trusted next-generation IT solutions provider that keeps you ahead of the competition. From humble beginnings, BMS Company is now one of the fastest-growing software engineering service providers, with international presence and golden reputation for excellence. The BMS Company is your one-stop global destination for web development, mobile application development, digital marketing, SEO, Facebook and Google advertising, social media management, business consulting, printing services, and many more. BMS is trusted to provide timely, cost-effective solutions. At BMS, we believe in providing guaranteed results, irrespective of a project's complexity. No stories, no excuses. And core to all of our operation is that we practice what we preach, and we deliver what we promise. We're proud of our dream team of solution-driven enthusiasts, comprising of industry experts in various fields, including blockchain, IoT, and AI. Our unique makeup and cooperate synergy enables BMS to add heart to technology while delivering our trademark exceptional results for our esteemed customers. Get free 3 months of hosting and 30 days SEO when you partner with us today. Call us now on 469-992-4567 or visit our website at thebmscompany.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back here on Walking This Way's Impact Voice podcast. I'm your host, Freeman Jackson Jr. I'm the CEO and founder of Walking This Way's Impact Voice podcast. We are broadcast right now from DFW along with my lovely co-host, Desiree. Lady D, how are you doing this evening?
I am absolutely fabulous. I'm going to go ahead and spill. I took the next 3 days off. I never take off. Okay, technically, it's not like I'm really off, right? Because, I still have things that need to be taken care of. I can't just completely be off, but I'm going to try to be off. But, a lot of that is, too, is because there's so much going on this weekend for veterans, with it being Memorial Day weekend. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening that I'm excited about on Saturday. And then anybody that's listening, please join us at Carry the Load. That's going to be in Dallas. And you can go onto my Facebook and find it on there, or just go to Carry the Load's Facebook page. And, we'd love for you to come out and participate and, see what it's all about. And so this is something that happens, year after year. I'm excited to be there and teaming up with Sheepdog Impact Assistance, who is an amazing organization. So that will be on Sunday and Monday. So technically on those days that I would be off, I'm still doing something. So I'm taking the next 3.
And awesome. Like I said, you are doing great work in the city of Dallas and surrounding areas. Keep doing what you're doing. And like I said, we got to give a big shout out, Lady D, to our listeners, our followers on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Big shout out to everybody who did 1,000 downloads of our podcast. Whether you on Spotify, Apple, Google, you name it. We thank everybody for supporting us. It's like the 200 some episode, Lady D, that we have done. Very excited. We thank everybody for being part of the New Faces of Dallas that we're promoting for the whole entire month of May, of course. I'm very excited about we ready to go into June. We got a hot lineup coming up in the month of June. So, summertime, y'all. So, we got to bring that heat. Of course, we have our lovely guests with us. We have a queen with us. You see her in the background. This is about her, about what she's done, what she's doing. And we got to give her roses, Desiree, because she's doing great work here in the DFW magazine, platform, podcast, you name it. Do you have any, will there be any books in the works in the near future? You got podcasts and you have different media platforms. Will you be writing a book in the near future? I just want to ask that question.
Yes, actually, I finished one and I'm working on that, but also we'll be working on an anthology with various veterans that will be in there. So I'm excited about that. And so that'll be coming soon. And I'll make sure that if those that decide to subscribe to She Vets It, they'll be able to get that information.
And that's what's up. And you mentioned earlier that, my question was, did you come from a military family? I know a lot of families either have a military family or maybe just want to take it to another level. So do you originally come from a military family, or you were the first one in your family?
Okay. Well, first, I want to say thank you for serving, because your family, I always say family serve too. So I wanted to acknowledge you. Earlier, you mentioned you come from a family of veterans. Yes, I come from a family of veterans. Most of the men on both sides of my family served in the military. My grandfather goes all the way back, believe it or not, the Civil War. So I'm definitely, I think as far as women, I don't know if there was any women veterans, but I may be the first woman veteran on my my family side.
And I agree with you. I think on that that the family serves too. I think that that's so important. And sometimes people don't understand the toll that it takes. Even if you're a veteran, a spouse to a veteran, right? And this goes on both sides, the male or female. If you're the spouse, you're serving with that spouse. You're enduring everything that they are. So when they're deployed, you're feeling that. When you're having to raise the kids by yourself, it weighs on you. And there's so many different aspects to, when we want to salute just that veteran, we don't think of all of those people that it affects. Now, obviously come from a large, family of veterans themselves. My grandfather, that's how he was able to come over from the Philippines, was he enlisted in the Navy. He is now buried in the San Francisco, cemetery. But, for me, it's like you don't stop and think about how's it affecting the kids? How's it affecting, their partners? And so I think that's what's so great about having so many different organizations. And like she said, how she wants to stand out. She doesn't want to just be, she doesn't want She Vets It to be like, we're She Vets It, we're a resource. She is a resource, but with 1,000 other resources built into her, that's what she's out there spreading. That's what she's providing for the community, is making sure that they're connecting. And so I think that's one of the things that makes her stand out, that I also just love. And that's why, we can go on to each other and say, hey, what do you know? And so it's like, oh, I do have a contact now for that. Or, oh, you know what? I actually just met somebody and we talked about this. And that's one of the great things about the She Vets It podcast, is she hosts a different speaker on there. Recently she had a speaker that was on there talking about, VA loans for housing. There's so many people that have questions about that. And so she does offer different, individuals to come on. And so her podcast is all about different veteran resources, and not just like She Vets It, And so I definitely, when she says it's kind of like a movement, I think she is definitely moving. She's moving in the community. And I love that she, even though she likes to try to say she's not all focused at times, and sometimes, nobody would notice what's going on. It is so true. When we're around her, we can be like, she'll be like, I forgot. But she really has it together. Her heart is in it. So I don't think that people notice it, because they see that passion and that drive that she has behind any of her, oh crap, I forgot. So it definitely weighs herself out. And one of the other things, like, so I wanted to ask too, Althea, you have on one of your She Vets It shirts. So tell us, is there a way that, are these for sale so that we can help support She Vets It, so that individuals that might want to buy one, especially our female veterans or any supporters, that they can purchase one, and then that money could help go to serving other veterans? Or can tell us more about that?
Yes. So usually what I was doing was giving them out. So it was more, like I said, a movement. So when you go to the VA, and the male veterans always have their hat, but females, we may or may not wear a hat. So I figured, She Vets It, we will probably wear a t-shirt that says that. So I just started giving it out. And like I said, everything that I was doing, it wasn't like as a business, it was more of a movement. And so I just started just giving them out. And so now we are going to transition, as I have quite a few. We formed a foundation now, She Vets It Foundation. So I have 4 board members and 3 people that'll be helping me with it. And so anything that, if you purchase a shirt, proceeds of the shirt will go towards the foundation and helping anyone that may need financial assistance.
That's awesome. And, I know at one of the events that we attended at the AT&T Center, that's where I originally got my first She Vets It shirt from you. And she also handed out some wonderful things. Like, this is what I'm talking about when she's just providing things. So even if it's not saying a resource that you need to go and reach out to somebody, she also handed out, I don't know if, it's probably going to be blinded by this ring light here. So I don't know if you guys can see that. Or there you go. And so it is the Bible boot camp for, for military women. And I keep this on my nightstand. And so this was just one of the things that she handed out just to help women get through stuff. And I think that's what's so amazing about you, Althea, is that you want to provide those little things for women to also make it through this. And you're right. There is so many things. Like, there's the handkerchiefs for the men. There's the dog tag necklaces for the men. Not that women can't wear them too. But just even this one book right here has been such an amazing thing for me to even read. I'm not a veteran. But I do like to kind of say I've, been adopted as a veteran for, serving serving our veteran population. So, will you have things like this that, are also available, that if anybody needs one, even if it's not for sale, but items like this, do you still have these things, or the little Bibles and stuff that you are able to give out?
Yes, I definitely, whenever I'm at an event, I usually have those. And it's an organization that actually provides those free. So if I need 2,000 of them, they'll send them to me. So I just thought I was like, oh my gosh, that is just so perfect for our veterans. So I was like, I'm passing that out, because, you just never know who may get that and feel inspired and get something out of it. So I really appreciate it. And you're like the second person that told me, I have this and I've been going through it. And so I really like what you said earlier. I'm really more, I always tell people I'm not like the problem solver. I'm just the connector. And so my thing is to bridge the gap so that veterans know about different organizations and resources that are around. Like next week I'll have an organization from Montana that'll be on.
Who's coming from Montana?
I'm still serving.
Okay, no, I don't know
Actually,
who that is,
this
but
Thursday,
I'll dig into it. Is it the lady that was on there?
Yes.
The one's a dog. Okay.
Yes,
Because
yes.
originally that's where I started my veteran services passion, was in Montana for 2 years. So that's why I was asking who was coming on from Montana.
Oh yes. So and then usually, and then I have someone from Chicago. There's different organizations. So I'm not just in the DFW area, because like I said, during the pandemic, it was online. And so what I do is I have organizations that are from all over, because I want veterans to know about these organizations all across the United States, and even if they're at Oconus.
That's what's up. I know. Let's talk more about. I know you mentioned that you went into the military at age 39, correct?
Yes.
How was that experience at the age of 39? Did you face any challenges, or how was it at your age? Did they try to intimidate you by your age? How did that come about?
Oh my goodness. So I always wanted to join the military. Believe it or not, it wasn't something I just decided to do at 39. But what happened was I wanted to join throughout high school, and then something came up, and then I had my son, and then I went to college, and then it was just always something that would come up that I couldn't join. And so when the recession happened, I was like, I think this is the time. And so I prayed about it, believe it or not. I prayed about it and went to church one day, and I said, okay, Lord, give me a confirmation if this is something I'm supposed to do. I said, okay, if I don't get a confirmation, I went to church. If I don't get a confirmation Monday, I'm not signing nothing. So I go to church, and the pastor had the Navy SEAL chaplain. The whole stage was military theme, and there was an army coming to pick up a family. And I was like, okay, Lord, I need another confirmation. No.
I don't know how much more he could have laid it out there for you, right? So tell me, how was that with your son? You said your son was already enlisted before you.
Yes.
So did he serve in the same branch, and how was that?
He was in the Air Force.
Okay.
So he actually joined a couple of years before me. So I told him, I said, how do you feel, telling your friends that your mom's in boot camp? Yes. But matter of fact, I have a son in boot camp right now.
Okay.
And oh my goodness, yeah, that was something, because he didn't want to tell me right away, because he thought I may change his mind. so
let's go more on that. How does that make you feel as a mom? Okay, so just knowing what knowing what you went through while enlisted, knowing how it has been after transitioning out, and let's not even count the fact of that transitioning period. We all know that's usually a struggle for our veterans. How was it for you to know now another one of your sons was going to be enlisted? Because I know personally for me, when my boys said that they want to enlist, they've always said it, always. And I was like, okay, yes, like I'm all for it. Absolutely. Keep it going in the family. Then I started serving veterans, and I said, hold up. Absolutely not. I don't care. I don't care that I'm so passionate about this. I don't care that it's such an honor to know that you want to serve your country. But let's be honest, my exact words were hell no. So how did that make you feel as a mom?
Well, he told me when he had like a week and a half to ship out. And it was traumatic.
I imagine, yes. I was thinking, why did he do that?
I was really triggered. I went through happy, sad, mad. And I was like, and it was during the anniversary of my battle buddies that passed. And so it was a really triggering for me because I was like, why would he do this? You know, this is hard for me this week. And why would he go during this week? So, but the thing is, I had to go through different things to kind of get my mind right to really say, okay, you know what? If this is what God wants him to do, who am I to get in his way if this is what he's destined to do? And so, but I kind of had to think of all the experience of, you know, going to Afghanistan, losing people and different things. So, I prayed with them. We all prayed as a family. And I said, okay, Lord, cover him, watch over him, and whatever his path is to be, that you would, no matter what it is, that you would keep his mind where he can get on whatever the other side, whatever that is, that he would have a purpose in whatever it is that he would, experience in the military, because the military is not a regular job. It's a hard commitment because you don't know what you're going to experience.
Yeah, most definitely. We know that, especially in the South, African Americans and stuff, growing up back in that, slavery time, whatever you want to call it, military was a way out to better families, especially from the South. So was your family like that growing up when they went to military, just to have a better quality of life?
My uncle, that's a good question, because my grandfather was in the military, but he also had he went to Marquette University. And then my uncle went, and he had graduated from Notre Dame, but he went reserve, and he actually ended up doing very well working with the city, being the Los Angeles personnel director, and I think he was also HR director LAX. So he was able to do very well, and a lot of them were able to have good military careers. But my grandfather, the one that I'm referring to, he ended up getting hurt. He ended up, I want to say the story was he lost a finger while he was in. It was something that had to do with, I don't know, ammunition, something. He got injured. So, but I think a lot of them had various reasons why they went, but some were drafted.
Yeah.
So some was voluntold. Yeah. And some just went.
Oh, that's what we love to say. We love to say voluntold, right?
But let me tell you something that's interesting about women veterans. We're the only ones that volunteered and was never drafted.
Hey, go to the women. Yeah. Look, we're all about women power tonight, Furman.
So we were the only ones that were that never been drafted to go, but we volunteered to go.
That's interesting to hear that they volunteered to go. And I know a lot of people look forward to traveling. A lot of people, when you go travel, see the world, of course, of that. When you was there, what besides Afghanistan, what other areas that you went to visit that you enjoyed during your time of duty?
Well, I lived in Germany for 3 years, but I really loved traveling in Germany because everything was so close, like an hour and a half. You could be in Austria, you can go to Spain on the weekend. You can go, Spain, it's a nice little hike, but you can get there. You can, and also they have airlines there that's kind of like Spirit, but it's a little cheaper. Like you can go to London for like 40 euros or go to Paris for 20 euros. I'm like, you'll never spend 20, 25, $50 to go to another state. could possibly, but it's probably
Yeah,
not.
I doubt it.
Yeah. But it was so common. So like on the weekends, every other weekend, we were trying to find somewhere to go because I was like, I don't think I'll be able to go any of these places when I'm in the States like this to be this affordable.
Mm. Yeah, because I know my uncle, my dad's baby brother, he was in the army, retired. He was stationed in Germany, retired, and he still lives in Germany after all these years. So
A lot of them stay out there.
yeah, because last time he was into the States was, oh man, when I was a teenager, and I'm now 41 years old. That was a long time ago,
Oh,
but he has
wow.
not been in the States since then. So, but he loves Germany and stuff like that. So,
And I would think for like 25 and 30 or even 50 euros, we're paying that for luggage alone. Like that's your baggage. That's what you have to pay for baggage to fly. Forget your ticket, right? So, you would definitely never make it to see those beautiful places on that cheap and affordable. So Daquan just says, being in the military, is there ever a feeling or a thought of war breaking out?
You know, here's the thing. I know it sounds crazy as much as I've experienced being in the military. I would love to be back in the military for that reason, because I feel like if I'm in the military, I know that I'm covered. They're gonna take care of me. Like if something break out, like I have a weapon that I can that got my name on it.
Yes.
So I'm taking care. I got the gas mask and all that. So, here we're like, okay, what's going on? But when you're in the military, you get briefed on where to go, where not to go. And like on the weekends, if I want to go to, let's say I want to go, I want to go to Houston, well, they're going to give me a brief. Well, you may not want to go to Houston because this may be going on. So you'll always get like briefs on different things so you're always going to know what's going on. And I think that's why getting out the military, you're like, there's a possibility things could be going on, but you don't know what it is. So when I was in Germany, before we could go to Paris, go anywhere, they'd be like, okay, this weekend, don't go downtown, because there's going to be this going on or that going on. You don't get those briefs when you're a civilian. And I think that's why so many veterans get out and realize that they don't know what they don't know. They don't know a lot of things. They're not privy to things like they are in the military.
wow. I want to talk about structure. We know that the military provides structure and stuff like that. So, as you being a veteran and stuff like that, what you was taught, what you learned, do you still implement that in your day to day?
It's because with my TBI, it's a challenge at times. So it's a struggle to try to keep things together. So I have to work on a structure. I have to force myself. So it's there from the military, but because of some of my challenges, I do have to work a lot harder. I have to do a lot of things, like I have Alexa that reminds me about everything. And sometimes I have to be like, okay, enough, Alexa, because it remind me of, coming on here. And so sometimes I have to do a lot of different things. I have to implement a lot of different things to keep me on task, but that could be very tiring. It can kind of wear me out because I do a lot more for one task that probably someone just like, oh, I'll be there, I'll do this, and they'll mark it. And yeah, so it could be a challenge sometimes.
And you know what? I know you mentioned the injury that you had. I would never know until you said something about it, because it's how you carry yourself so well that I would never knew until you said something about it.
Yeah, you got to hang out with me like, oh, bless her heart. You just have to be like, I say what I do is really awe God, because
Right.
like some of the things I do, you wouldn't know you wouldn't know. It's like Desiree connecting and giving me that push to do this. And then, the magazines and this and that, those different people that give me push. I don't put anything out says I'm looking to speak. I don't put anything out saying that I want to be in a magazine or this and that. It's just people have contacted me. I haven't sent any media kits out, and I know that it's all God that kind of pushed me forward to, or given me favor to be in these different spaces. So, yeah.
Well, and it's all about the work. It's like anything you do. When you look at athletes, all thing they're about is cultivating their skills. Before you know it, other companies come sponsor them, endorse them. They don't go looking for them; they come looking for them, man. That just made me think about that. We just said that just by you putting in the work and the effort, these things will come to you, and that's
Hmm.
what's all about having it, organic. Being organic, and for people just coming to you, asking you to do these things, be featured in magazines to really showcase what you're doing. Desiree, you have anything you want to ask?
No, I mean, other than, so are your next event coming up is going to be what? So that all of our viewers will know, Althea, what's coming up? Like, I know we have the thing in September, but do you have something coming up before the end? Other
Yes.
than
So,
the June 12th thing, right?
oh yes. Okay. So June 6th is the
June
proclamation
6th.
with the city of Frisco, and that's going to be at 6:30. So for those that want, it's open to the public, and all my veterans come out. And if you know you want to inbox me, let me know. I have some shirts, and so if you want to come out, I would love to have you come out. And it's a day for women veterans that they will be recognizing every year, June 12th. So the proclamation will be available June 6th. However, it's to recognize June 12th, and before that, there'll be an event from 4 to 6, and you can kind of inbox me, or you can email me at info@shevetsit to find out information about. It's going to be with Total Networking, and that's where you can learn a little more about She Vetsit. And again, September 20th and 21st, that will be the Resource Expo.
And that's what's up. And also plug in the She Vested podcast. How can people tune in? How can they follow? How can they support?
Yes, definitely. Check us out if you want to find out. I'm very, very active on Instagram. I do the lives on Instagram. From time to time, I'll do it on YouTube and different platforms. But I'll be increasing more of my presence in that direction. I'll definitely be having Desiree's over there as well. So just because it's a wonderful program, I'm looking to expand more. And like I said, I have the She Vets It Foundation now, so that has already been put in place, and so I have people that will be supporting and helping me with that, and I'm so excited that for that. And so we'll be thinking over some of those regular programs we'll have every year. So
And
I'll keep you posted.
and that's awesome. And like I said, the programs, mention the programs one more time that people that's veterans can know about these programs. Like they're the best kept secret, want to say. But how can people know about these programs, especially veterans, to get the help they need? I know Desiree helps a lot of veterans that's in trouble with the C, class C's.
Class C
Uh,
misdemeanors. Uh huh.
yeah,
Hmm.
right. Talk more about that so people can know that there are available resources today.
Yes, definitely. Subscribe to She Vets It, shevetsit.com, and that will, I'll keep people posted on what's going on there. And then also follow me on Instagram. I'm on other platforms, but Instagram is where you will see who's coming up. And I usually try to post that on my website as well. And you'll be able to find out who I have coming up. But also, I'm also love to vet not only organizations, but I love for those that have had great experiences with veteran organizations that want to let me know, like, hey, you need to check out this organization. and share this organization on the platform. So I always look for recommendations, from referrals from other organizations that are out there that is referred by other veterans.
Also, and Desiree, go ahead and let people know that may have trouble with the class C's and stuff like that too, so they can know that they can't get help.
Yeah, so of course, as always, that I mentioned on here, I'm with the City of Dallas Veterans Treatment Court, and if you have any Class C misdemeanor citations with the City of Dallas, please just give me a call, or you can email me. And of course, my number again is 214-422-3406, or you can email me at desiree.bailey@dallas.gov. And so just reach out to me. If it's not something I can handle in my court, I always try to provide you with a resource of maybe which court you can handle it in. It's limited because of the fact that I am the Class C misdemeanor court. So, but felonies, I got you covered, or A's and B's, I can refer you out to those as well. But Class C is the only one that I do. And definitely, even if you're just needing a resource, maybe you don't have a citation, but you just don't know how to connect with an organization. I have many contacts within TVC, which is the Texas Veterans Commission, also with Combined Arms. If you're also interested in maybe doing some, marriage management, connect with marriagemanagement.org. So they are working with couples on that transitioning back in, also just how your relationship is now. So if it is, that you're needing more of communication, tools in the toolbox for communication, finances, whatever it may be, definitely urge you to go on. We have an online class coming up June 12th, and it's going to be for 3 nights. It'll be 2 hours each night. So definitely encourage you to do that as well. But just, the thing is just ask. You won't know unless you ask us. And that's what we are really on here, trying to voice, is that we do have the resources. We may not have all the answers, but we will connect you with somebody. And, Althea, I just want to say it has been such an honor to have you on our month of May, where we are definitely showcasing all of these amazing individuals that are so passionate about what they're doing, telling their stories. And that's what this whole month has been about, is just showcasing you guys. And we applaud you, and we thank you so much for taking the time out to even do this. I know you said that you have family coming in for a daughter's graduation. And so that made me even more honored that you would squeeze us in and, and be a part of this, because we definitely want to let people know right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that there are so many resources of all sorts. We've had people of just empowering women, with Sabrina Ford, who's hosting her event in Tyler, Texas.
Green Enterprises, the home of Malaya.
But we had an evangelist on, that was sharing her story just this last week. And so, definitely thank you. And again, just keep doing what you're doing. Anytime you, would like to, have us even help, promote something, please reach out to us. That's what we are about. You will see on all of our, social media platforms, we share, because it is about supporting one another, and it cannot be about just a me mentality. And so definitely reach out to us, invite us to come and attend whatever we can for you guys. And Furman, I just want to say too, because I got to put this plug in, obviously the way I even met Furman was through 100 Men Enterprise, where I'm on the board for that. And just recently, for our young men in the community, 100 Men was sponsored by JD Finish Line. We were able to provide them all with gift certificates to get shoes. And so each individual got like $159 gift certificate. We ended up putting shoes on 27 youth this past, I believe it was this past week. And so to see their faces, to hear their stories, to know that some of them have never even been able to go into a store and buy a pair of shoes like that. It was just such an amazing thing. And so 100 Men Enterprise is definitely doing great work out there for our youth and for our veterans. So if anybody is interested in seeing more about what they're doing, log on to 100men.net and just definitely get involved. We are open to anybody that wants to help volunteer, supporting any of the organizations that we have showcased for the month of May.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Awesome. And I know, Desiree, I know we're going to take one more commercial break, and then we're going to finish up our conversation with our featured guest.
Okay.
M. Green Enterprises, the home of Malira Green, your confidence coach. She is a licensed clinical social worker who serves as a therapist, clinical supervisor, master healer, and transformative speaker. Malira is fiercely committed to guiding individuals to become unstuck and motivated to confidently reach their goals while owning their God-given gifts. She serves as the bridge between your caterpillar and butterfly moment. If you are ready to transform, check out www.maliratransforms.com, for she is ready to transform with you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back here on Walking This Ways Impact Boys Podcast. Of course, you know I am Furman Jackson Jr. I'm the CEO and founder of Walking This Ways, along with my lovely co-host, Desiree, as well. We are excited to be back with y'all one more time here on this great Tuesday evening. We know we broadcast every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Saturday here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, you can check out current and past episodes on Spotify, iHeart, on Google. Just type in Walking This Ways Impact Boys Podcast will pop up. Go ahead, follow us, subscribe to it, get notifications. Big shout out to everybody who's helped build up our YouTube channel as well. Twitter is going up. Facebook, of course, is going up. TikTok is going up with all the clips and everything. So we thank everybody for their support. It's all about staying consistent in what you're doing. No matter what you do in life, stay consistent, embrace it, put in 1,000% in what you're doing. And I know we got a jam-packed episode. We got 2 episodes tomorrow. We got a 10 o'clock a.m. show that I will be doing. Then me and Desiree will be back in the corner. We'll be back Wednesday night at 7. Of course, we know we got Saturday morning at 10 with me and Desiree. So we got a jam week of the podcast. So we're very excited to have Ms. Williams with us once again. She's the founder. She vested here in the DFW. She's a veteran. She's an entrepreneur. She's a leader. Before we get out, let's talk about entrepreneurship. We know that entrepreneurship has been around for years, for centuries, for generations. But we know when the pandemic hit, we know a lot of people lost their jobs. We know a lot of people didn't recover from it. A lot of people took their life in their own hands. Where you say, you know what, I'm not going to depend on nobody else for income. I'm going to get out here and utilize my skills and abilities to create income for myself. And so a lot of people jumped off into entrepreneurship. So you have military. So did entrepreneurship runs your family as well? Because I know I have entrepreneurship in my family. My dad's dad owned his own shoe store at the age of 13. So do entrepreneurship runs your blood as well also?
Oh, yes, definitely. When I think about, entrepreneurship, both of my mom's side and my dad's side, they both own their own businesses. And I think, too, is because during segregation, we had our own communities. So you kind of had no choice but to have your own. And so as segregation, kind of ended, you don't see us thriving as much in entrepreneurship as we did back in the day, because we started going to school and working more for others. And I'm just referring to maybe more the African American community. But yes, so I definitely come from the line of entrepreneurs.
Yeah, because we know that's what a lot of people are passionate about. Because a lot of people say they want generational wealth. We know the Bible says a good man leaves inheritance for a children. We're not just talking about on a material surface, but as a spiritual foundation as well. Because we know that God is important. God is always first. Of course, you know that. So that's part of that foundation as well. Also, and once again, I think we got a question too. We got big shout out to
Anthony. Oh my gosh. So I'm interrupting you on this one. So Althea, Anthony is freaking amazing. If you get a chance, go back a few episodes and check out his podcast that we did here on the show. Amazing man who is doing so much in the community in Chicago. And so I would definitely just encourage you to watch that, but I'll read it. So it says, for some, it's just something you have to accept as service members.
Yes. And I was going to add, thank you, Anthony. Thank you. I definitely have to check your segment out. What I was gonna say is I didn't even, getting medically retired from the military. Like I was saying, I wasn't even trying to be an entrepreneur or do. I was just trying to kind of regain, help heal myself and build a community of support. And it just grew. Like I said, I done created a whole job. I was like, oh my goodness, this is definitely not what I had expected. If someone told me I would be doing this, I'd be like, you're lying.
But that's another one of those things where, God has a calling for us all. And so sometimes it's not what we think or pick and choose, but it's what he's picked and choose that works best for us. And he definitely found that in you. And I love everything that you're doing. You can always call on me to help support you and any of your endeavors. Hopefully I won't have a flat tire next time, but I'm still there for the pregame. Okay.
Oh, yeah. your heart was there. I definitely understood whatever role you were supposed to play. The key was God used you to really inspire me to keep pushing to actually do it. And so that you gave me that push to go. And I see Anthony said vets usually are able to see what civilian works is missing. And that's the ability to make it happen. Yes, definitely.
Anthony, correct me if I'm wrong. Did you say that you were a veteran too? Am I wrong on that for a minute? Am I delusional? Anthony, will you chime in?
Yeah, he did military time, so he did.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, is that he too is a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's in Chicago. That's where he's at.
Oh, thank you for your service.
Yes. And so in a little bit, when you go back to watch his stuff, so he is a shoe designer. He makes amazing. I'm still waiting to try to put in my order for one. And so, but 14 years and still going is what he's saying.
Oh, wow.
And so, but he has a program for the youth there that, allows them to be creative and he gives back a lot to them. And so, just a very passionate, man about his community. And so these youth, I definitely encourage you follow him on Instagram and on Facebook. He has some amazing things going on with the youth there in Chicago.
Well, I wanted to share this since Anthony came on, is that I actually have He Vets It. And I'm actually looking for a host for He Vets It, and that's to talk about everything that has to do with our male veterans. And so I would love, once we, get that going, I would love to see if Anthony would love to be a guest. I'd love to learn more about his organization.
I just reached out to him. What I'm trying to do, I'm gonna see if he's available. I'm trying to plug him in right now. So
I would love it. Come on, Anthony.
I'm waiting on him to respond.
I'm telling you, his heart, Althea, that's one of the things I love about being on this show. I've got to meet so many people from all over that they're all like-minded, and I love that about them. So, oh gosh, Anthony, he's so full of it. Okay, he really is amazing. Just look at his feed, watch his social media, and you can't. It's phenomenal. Anthony, are you going to come on and join us? We'd love it.
If he go ahead and plug in, if he want to go ahead and plug in, I'll send him the link right now that he can plug in.
Oh, I would love it.
He did say I'm more willing to help, so I want him going. I'm sending him the link so he go ahead and plug in.
Yes.
So let's keep collaborating.
You see how this works? This is what we call effective networking, people. Okay, this is where we are connecting all those dots. I love.
Yes, and you know what? And that's why I was saying, which I was thinking, I was like, oh my gosh, what can I do having chronic issues that I can still control my time? And I was like, well, I could do this. And so that's what I love, connecting. It doesn't require, we're in our own homes and we're able to connect. And it's only a short period of time. And then afterwards, we can go to bed, take a nap, whatever we want to do. You can lay on the couch. You said you're
so I have a couch in my bedroom. It's because listen, I do a lot of back end work of stuff. And so I will sit on my couch and work. If I'm in my bed, sometimes I just be like, okay, let me just go to bed. So I put a couch in the bedroom and, I turn on the TV because I can do more than one thing at a time. I listen to the TV, watch a little bit and work at the same time. But, I'm doing all this back end charting And and then doing these podcasts. So I just kind of host everything right here in the bedroom.
Love it. I love it. Yes, but
So when is that coming? When is the He Vets It supposed to come on?
We're still working that out, but it will be similar to She Vets It, but I won't necessarily be the host. I may join from time to time, but I'll have another host that will work on that end. But there mainly are male supporters that are male veterans that in the similar that may have organizations or that we talk more about everything around our male veterans, because truth be told, MST, military sexual assault, it actually happens to probably more males than females, and we don't really even talk about. When you hear MST, you most of the time you think of women, and not men, and so that's where we won't just talk about things like just that, but there'll be other things celebrating our veterans that are doing phenomenal things like Anthony and so forth, and using those inspiring stories to help other veterans know that there's life outside of the uniform.
Yes, I love that. That's so important. And you were definitely correct on, the MST for males versus females, but you automatically do think of it being a female that has been the victim of that. And so, and I would love to bring more awareness to that, just because it is so hard for those to come forward and have to admit to that. They're worried about repercussions. I mean, I've seen, in the 5 years I've been working in veteran services, I've seen where, they'll say I only served X amount of time, but I'm at, the full benefits, right? And I'll be like, okay, let me think of how did this, play out. And then as I start, building that rapport with them, they tell me, like, because of MST, I was awarded these full benefits and stuff. And I'm just thinking, it's almost like hush money when you think about it, like, we know this happened, we're acknowledging it, but instead of putting it in writing, we're just giving you the full benefits. And I think that, every day they're not getting that healing of what had actually happened to them.
Yeah. Well, the one good thing too that's available is that, we're able to have therapy, counseling, and things like that. I definitely take advantage of that. I really believe that it's important to, heal, like, and so that's why I took my healing in my own hands, and like, okay, I need to be around people. I need to find my tribe. I need to find people. And so that it was so important for me to do that. But also, as I was doing that, my therapist along the way, when I first started, I was like, I don't know if I should do this. This is going to be too much. Every week, she has taught me, since I started, I've had the same therapist, and she's just amazed every week on the things that I'm doing. I'm like, oh my gosh, you remember when I first started, this was a whole lot. Like, I was overwhelmed. It was just too much. I get sensory overload that people don't see. And as I started moving to do more public things, I got really sick after my social. Sometimes sensory overload, it really impacts me physically afterwards. And so those are things that people don't know. And so she's aware of that. So I have to use ways of not balancing my time going out to different functions and not doing too much to control how it impacts me physically.
And that's one of the things that I have, just really appreciated you even being on the show for, is to talk about how the effects are from a TBI. So, people, of course, can experience a TBI from, various reasons. But on the military side of things, we have so many people that think, when somebody says, for like PTSD, and they're like, oh, that veteran probably has PTSD. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But everything that you guys have encountered while enlisted, there is something that, it kind of relates to, right? Even those that come out and they say, oh, everything's perfectly fine, I have nothing wrong. Later, as you build that rapport, they start to tell you, I'm not sleeping. Well, why are you not sleeping? But it's sometimes just bringing that awareness and knowledge that they're not, open about, or maybe they didn't think about it. They didn't want to think that was related to when they were serving. And so I definitely love that you've come on here and you've told us about how, you, even at a late age going into the military, I think that's phenomenal. But then just sharing of how, doing your podcast, doing this movement that you're in with She Vets It, has helped you to, it's kind of your healing process. It gives you some structure, but you saying even that your counselor is saying the growth that she's seeing in you. And I think that what's inspirational is it's teaching others that no matter what has happened, whether it's from military or I don't care if it's from domestic violence, whatever it is that you have, come back out of, there's so much more that there's potential for you moving forward in the future. God has a plan for us all.
Yes. I want to add something, because a lot of times we think PTSD, TBIs are just is just for military. It's just military only. But our civilian brothers and sisters can have experienced a TBI, some car accident or different things like that, and experience PTSD depending on where they grew up at, what their family life was like, and things like that. You can have PTSD before you even join the military, or even if you've never been in the military, you can have PTSD. So it's not exclusively for our veteran community. It can be anyone can experience it. It's just so happened our community, we highlight it more and we talk about it more, which actually that's what made me want to connect more with my veteran community, because I figured, what, I need to be around people that can connect and understand what I'm going through, because in the civilian world, it's more of a stigma.
Yes.
Nothing for me to talk to another veteran about some things that I may be having challenges with. But somebody on the job, you might be working at a regular job as a civilian, you're not going to necessarily share any of your mental issues that you may be going
because the fear of being judged is what it is. It's that fear. Althea, we're going to take another quick break real quick. We're trying to see if we can get Anthony on with us live real quick so that we could do a quick introduction between you guys. So we're going to take a quick commercial, let Furman try to connect with him, and then we'll be right back with everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You are the director, the creator, and the writer of your story. You literally could do whatever you want. And it's just for you to sit down and navigate where you want to go. And you will get there.
Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back here on Walking This Way's Impact Voice podcast. I am, of course, Furman Jackson Jr., along with Lady herself, Desiree. We got Ms. Williams with us from See Visit, and we have a very special guest with us out of the Chi-Town. Ant, what's up with you, Double A? Thank you for taking time on your productive schedule to hang out.
I know!
You was there, Ms. Williams as well. And this thing came all about. So, Ant, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience. You're not a stranger to the podcast, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, how's going on, everybody? Good evening. My name is Anthony. I'm the owner and operator of the company Sneaker Fair Kicks, and also co-founder of the youth program Concepts to Kicks.
Man, what's up?
And y'all see me cheesing like a big old, like a kid in a candy store, right? First of all, you just have to know, I am so proud of you, Anthony. I'm so proud of what you're doing for your community. I support you wholeheartedly, but it's always so nice that it has been a minute since we've seen you. So just to see you back on just makes me smile. And then just to know that we can connect one veteran with another veteran, I'm loving that. And then the fact that you could also help her by being a guest in this next movement that she's wanting to do with the He Vets It. I think it just makes me happy, guys, because y'all know how I am about networking. What can I say?
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you.
Me too. I love everything about networking. I mean, y'all know how I get down, straight to the jugular, and I don't like to cut no corners. It's straight to it. So networking is a core principle for me. I mean, that's how you get places, right? You got to know somebody that knows something about it, right? Mm-hmm. Or at least know somebody that knows somebody that knows something about it. So networking for me is cool. And for me, networking is one of those things that it helps to build an interesting story, if you really want to be honest about it. Because when people ask you about how you did something, that story is usually, at least to me, way more interesting when I hear oh, I was doing this and then somebody approached me and it snowballed into this big thing. And as far as the veteran thing goes, I think it's something that it's one of those things that you can really only understand once you experience it. And that is one of those things that they tell you about when you join like this family, this like 1% family that only you can be a part of because you joined, or this club that only you can be a part of. And it's like a club within a club because it's a really small select few of people. It's like less than 1% of the world, not even just like your own specific country, but your world is a part of real small people that understand your life experiences, past and current. And the fact that us as whether you're prior service or current service, just understanding what each individual may have gone through really drives you to help them to succeed in whatever it is that they want to do. Because I mean, all veterans have gone through like something that's like crazy strange, or something that was like extremely difficult. And whether you've been through it or not, if you're currently serving, you may have that experience, or you may, I guess you could say, you can empathize with that experience, even not having it. This military life is difficult, just in general. It is difficult. So to help out another service member is, I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Like I said, man, it's awesome what you're doing. And I know, Aunt, I know you did something back at home, and know you did something in Chicago. You were featured on the news there, and I gotta give a big shout out to you for talking to my little brother as well. I know he's into design, and I appreciate you taking time out to talk to him, mentor him.
Oh, for sure. We haven't even got started yet. Just wait.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate you helping my little brother out as well. But talk about back at Chi-Town, Chicago. You were featured on the news there. You posted on your social media platform. Oh, congratulations to you as well on the blue check also. You're doing big things, man. I appreciate you. But you're a celebrity now. But go ahead and talk about what you're doing back in Chicago. I know Desiree, she's a big fan. She's a supporter of what you're doing. You were featured on the news. How was that experience being featured on the news?
Right. So let me backtrack a little bit. So what I do is networking in itself. So what I'm focused on, what my mission is to advocate for creative spaces for primarily the youth, because creative spaces are diminishing day by day for the youth, but booming industries and the jobs that will be available to them as they get older will demand, if not tie into their jobs, the need for creativity. So that is going to be a competitive edge that a select few will have, because they will have privileges that a lot of like inner city kids, which is what I primarily focus on, and underprivileged kids, regardless if they live in the inner city or not, they will not have that. So they will not have that competitive edge. Industry is demanding creativity to solve tomorrow's problems. And a child does not need to be able to draw. An adult does not need to be able to draw to use your inner creative. So being able to advocate for those spaces is mission. Now, how I do that currently is run a program called Concepts to Kicks. And in this program, what we teach is a bit of entrepreneurship, a bit of creative design, a bit of cultural awareness, and primarily critical thinking skills that these children will need regardless of what industry they go into, and just to help them to be productive people as they grow up. And how we do that is through a really subtle way, combination of my partner being their in-school art teacher or in-district art teacher, and then myself creating the tangible item for them, which is to create a tangible pair of sneakers from these multitudes of drawings that these students create. Now, my students are students who are dealing with what we like to say in short are adult problems. These are students who are dealing with issues that can range from transients. Basically, they don't know where they're going to sleep from day to day. Chronic absentees in school, which is something that's not necessarily their fault. We're talking about violence in neighborhoods, violence at home, several things that a child should not have to consider throughout daily life. We want them to focus on grades, to focus on leadership skills, critical thinking skills, basically anything that is going to help them to become a productive member of society. That is what we want them to focus on. But our students have several issues that they need to consider over that. Some students I deal with, their meals only come from school. If they don't eat it, they don't eat for the day. Wow. So we go in and we provide this level of education that is very subtle and provides an incentive of the fact that they want the newest sneakers out, but they get a sneaker that is specifically catered to them because we asked them to put on their thinking caps, and whatever theme we give them, like this year the theme was based on cultural, so it was a cultural theme. And so a lot of students came up with various ideas. Some of my students who really impressed me were focused on their Latino heritage and what that meant to them, and they came up with amazing designs. And I've just been blown away for the last 3 years that we've been working on this project. How this all ties into what we're currently talking about, veteran affairs, is let's see, in about a week and a half, I will be in Houston and I will be speaking directly about what it is that I'm doing right now and how that reflects on my career in the Army and what the Army has provided me that's allowed me to still this person who does community service, this creative person, this entrepreneur. And so I will have my own platform in Houston, sponsored by Complex and the Army, to speak on those types of things. So if anybody's in Houston on June 4th, come see me.
Why couldn't it be later in June when I'm going to be in Houston? What is going on? We should have planned this timing a little bit better. I'll be there for like a whole week in June, but not until like the 23rd, 4th, or somewhere around that time frame. But, you know, I was just thinking, I was just literally sitting here thinking, like, it's not that long of a drive. I could use a little bit of a getaway, right? It's still with veteran services. So I'm thinking I could probably pull it off with work too, that I need to be present for it. And then I can broadcast from live on the podcast for Walking His Ways while in Houston, showcasing what Anthony's doing. And you know, yes, I do support him so much, and I do grin and cheese like a kid in a candy store, because he is such an inspiration, just also being the veteran that he is, and or, you know, currently serving in our military. But the fact that he, like he mentioned about these young, you know, these young children, is that he's being this mentor in such a creative way. And I think that's the thing that a lot of kids need. Instead of that disciplinary way, they do it by this creative approach, which, you know, helps them to build this rapport. But knowing that these children, even though they're facing these adult issues, they are still expected to do right in school. And so if they're not behaving like they should be in school, then, you know, it could exclude them from being a participant in his program. And so it gives them something to kind of be an outlet for the negative things that they're having to face at home. It gives them something to look forward to, and to say, regardless of what my upbringing is, I still have an amazing talent that I could go far on. And I think that that's what touches my heart so much. And that's why I grin so big. That's why I'm sharing and liking anything and everything that he's posting, is because, you know,
it's true.
You know, to me, okay. I do. But here's the thing is that we need people supporting each other like that. You know what?
So true.
We're adults. It's our young youth that need that encouragement. And if
Yes.
it takes us, that's our future. And what I love is that he's investing in our future
I love
by
that.
being a mentor for all these, individuals. And if you could see,
Mhm.
I've watched like the video footage and the pictures and everything that he shares. And if you could see these kids, like they light up, they're proud of themselves. And that's what we need, because sometimes when you go home, you don't know what kind of abuse is going on behind
That's
doors.
right.
They might not be getting their homework done because they're hungry, because they didn't sleep, because they're being sexually abused, they're physically abused. We don't know those things, and how many kids are not speaking up about it. But the one place they can speak up is when they're going there and they're using that creative side to put all of that hurt, that passion, that everything, and they see this beautiful product that they got to do, and it makes them proud and it gives them hope. And that's why I so heartily forever will support Anthony. I mean, I'm going to Chicago, and I don't even know why, else I would go to Chicago other than just so I can say I'm here supporting you. The food. Okay, well, you're going to have to tell me where I'm going to eat for food, because, I don't know. So, but and guys, Anthony, thank you so much for taking that time. I know Furman said thank you, but thank you for just, coming on, giving Althea that little background piece, letting me brag about you, because you so deserve it. And then just also connecting one veteran to another. And I think one day we're just going to have like a big Walk in His Ways guest podcast, like reunion or something. I feel like we should just, yes, like, would it not be so much fun just to connect us all?
That would be nice. And I wanted to say, Anthony, you are doing amazing. What a wonderful concept. And as Desiree was saying, is that those children, they're our future, and you don't know what their experience, but that they can actually learn how to use their creativity, channel that into something productive and produce something. And sometimes, like for me, I used to love music. Well, I still love music, but I used to chant, that was my thing growing up. I just always went to music. And so for them, you're letting them know that you can just be creative, put your energy in creating something, even if they're going through some things, they can use that. And so I love it. Great concept.
Thank you. Yeah. And so the best thing about this, and why I decided to jump on, because this is about you. This is your moment. Why I decided to jump on was because what I'm listening to, and at the behest of my I said, yeah, I'll join, because there are things that me and you, Ms. Williams, can talk about, because my program, we're working, and at this moment we're getting it put on paper and getting it looking nice and pretty. We have a curriculum to this. Granted, it's all in our heads and in our laptops. Me and my co-founder, my partner, we have it in our heads. The curriculum's there. If it works, is what I'm getting at. It works. And the thing is, it works for any age group. We can teach this to an elderly person, and they can benefit from what we have established. And it doesn't even have to be solely based around sneakers. I mean, what I'm getting at is, so I'm 34 and I've been creative for 30 years. I've been doing this since I was 4 years old. One of the things I always talk about when I speak to others about why this is method training, basically, why this method works, is because I remember sometime in my teenage years where my cousin basically broke his Xbox. It wouldn't work. He didn't know what to do, and it was because he had destroyed the plug that goes into the wall. So I looked around his house and I found a plug, but it wasn't for the same type of game system. It was for a different one. Well, my brain was rattling, because I'm like, there's always a way to do something, and it's always a way. Now these are similar in the same way they function. So I looked at it and I said, well, if I could change the shape of this plug, then this game will come on. And I was looking for something to change the plug. Couldn't use a knife, couldn't figure that out. There was a skateboard in the basement, and I shaved down this plug to make it fit. And we plugged it up and it came on. Now, what I would like to ask theme panel here is, what would you have done if you had an item that had a plug that didn't work anymore? And I mean, let me stop you before you answer. You probably just buy a new one or just deal without it, right?
I'd buy a new one.
Right. You do one or the other. You do one or the other. So I attribute the ability to say, no, there's a way to do this. I just need to figure out how. To the fact that I have a primarily creative things. 9 times out of 10, the way somebody else is going to do it is not to do it. So in that thought process, knowing that his mother is not going to spend $300 to get him another one, he's screwed. I figured out this way to do this, and it actually did the game until the system stopped working. With that same cord that I built. It's the same thing. It's the same thing other people do. I mean, I've seen mechanics make a car run off a belt to somebody's pants. It's just ingenuity, which is a part of your creative brain. So now, we can take this and apply this to our vets out here that are wondering what's the next step for them. We can apply this to vets who have some sort of mental issue that they're dealing with, because we know military life is hard and it changes us. One thing I always say is the way you come, take a snapshot of that person, because when you get out, you are not that person anymore. You cannot be that person ever again. It will change you. Getting up before most people have time to make coffee. You know, that's a big thing. You know, we're up before Jesus is up. And Jesus goes to bed before we do too. You know, and that's normal. And that's a normal thing. You know, like this is, but that changes you. Being able to do that. Like I remember I got a basic training, and for like 6 months I woke up at 4:30 for no reason. Every day. Just woke up at 4:30. And we know what the first thing was on my mind? Running. Because that's the first thing. Get up and you go and exercise. It's the first thing you do. And that's what I thought about every morning for like 6 months. It changes you forever. Yeah. Physically sometimes too. But what about those vets that have those changes that we can't see? Does that happen up here that they can't get rid of?
And that's
what about those changes?
That's what I always tell people, though, invisible wounds, because they'll see me, they're like, girl, you look good. Girl, you're fine. You look fine. And it can be very frustrating because people don't know the challenges that you may be going through, although you look fine. And I think I was sharing with you all earlier, when my son said he was going to the military, it kind of triggered me. And so for 3 weeks, I was really sick. Like, it really impacted me physically. But I still did my Thursday She Vets It, but no one knew that. But it really, really, I'm just now getting to the point where I'm like feeling a little better. But it's an invisible one. If I went out, no one would have known, because you can't see pain. You can't see that. You can't see a traumatic brain injury. It's all, unless it disfigured someone's face, then you're like, okay, something might be going on. But if you don't see, invisible wound, if you don't see a cast, someone's arm cast, you don't think it's broke, if you don't see a cast. But invisible wounds are some things that veterans get out with that you have no idea what they're dealing with.
Yeah, there's so many things, and with you saying that, I'll add on to that with the other unseen things that happen to us that also get glossed over. Like just now, our mental health as service members is being acknowledged. It took years for them to start to acknowledge that. The war in Iraq and Afghanistan, it's like unfortunate but fortunate. Those things put that on the map for people to take it serious.
Yeah.
At least in my time, that's what made people take it serious, because the wars that happened in the 90s, nobody took mental health serious. Then the 2000s, that's when they started to understand, because scientists were saying, no, there's something to this. But there are the unseen things that happen outside of uniform
Mm-hmm.
that also get glossed over, like a death in the family and that person is overseas.
Ooh, and that happened to me.
That hurts.
That actually, let me tell you what happened. Look, how much time we got? No.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
Okay, look, I was heading to Afghanistan, and my grandfather passed, and I just got to Afghanistan a week. I was there a week before he passed away, but because I was an essential person, I couldn't go back.
Couldn't leave. Yeah.
I couldn't leave. Well, I guess I could, but I was key, so it was like, you don't want to do that because then I'm letting everybody down. And
there's the social pressure.
So then it wasn't until not last year, the year before last, it was around the 2021. I hadn't went back since then because, I just didn't go back because after he passed, a month later in Afghanistan, 2 aircrafts of people, part of our unit, went down. So I went from death after death after death. And then it wasn't until 2021 I decided to go. I went back to go visit my family. And I went to my grandfather's house. And it really, I didn't realize how it triggered me just going to the house. It was like what I didn't get a chance to mourn when I was in Afghanistan took place in 2021. It really triggered me. I was like very emotional, like certain things happened. I can't even explain, but it was just because I didn't get that opportunity when I was overseas.
Yeah, there's like so many different things. Like we always like more of the like horrifying, more gruesome things that service members have to deal with once they take off the uniform forever. But there's other things that are like less outwardly negative, but they affect a person, like guilt and shame. Those things aren't really spoken of much. I mean, I have a few friends who've never seen any of their children born because they were deployed every time their children were born. They've never seen any of their children's birth, men. And that may seem like it may not matter, but to a dutiful father, that is a big deal. To have never seen any child of yours born, you were not present on that day.
I wanted to add too, as women veterans going overseas, I noticed that there is like some of the female veterans tend to have like some of that guilt, and also sometimes could have challenges with the children because there's that resentment that you weren't there during certain key moments in their lives, even if it wasn't when they were born, but maybe they could have been a little older, and there's that resentment that I know quite a few that have struggles right now because they were overseas. Because here's the thing, the men are always known and socialized to, we know to go, they're going to go to work, they're going to be out of the home, and the mom, guess who stays home and who's the nurturer, the one that takes care of them, that's always there? That's the mom. But what if mom is not there and now she's in combat?
Yeah. And
speaking of kids.
and even just to like add on top of that is that it's not that fathers don't feel that guilt. It is easy. It is easier.
Anthony,
it is easier.
Oh, sorry. I said we're just gonna ignore that. We were talking about children, and your son just.
Oh yeah. Please
that was awesome.
You'll meet him eventually.
I love it.
Yeah, but like the fathers feel that as well. It's just, I believe it's easier for us to justify it because we're focused on what needs to be done. The guilt doesn't go away because others, that miss out on son's first baseball game, whatever. You miss out on actually achieving something like graduations, winning a championship, those things that you would want your dad to, to say, good job. Like those children miss out on those. Daughters missing out on valuable father time as well in various different situations, like those things. And then also to add to the fact of a lot of our brothers and sisters in arms are actually in financial crisis, and no one has any way of knowing, because that can be embarrassing, especially for a service member, because the stigma is that that you're kind of like, you got it all together once you join. All the issues you had before you came in, like those somehow get alleviated. Like now you're making more money than you ever made before. But things like that still take time, regardless of whether you're a service member or not. That takes time to accumulate money. And yeah, so a lot of our brothers and sisters could be in financial crisis as well. So I'm willing to lend my expertise and or sympathies, I should say, to your cause, because there's so much in the 14 years, will be 15 in October. There's so much that I've seen. And early in my career, there was I'll say there was no accountability on my part, because I had no idea to be accountable for what I knew. Because early on I was always like, well, why is this way? This doesn't make sense, because this is supposed to be a brotherhood or a sister, like a family. Well, why is this happening? How come some people don't have rides when they need to get from here and there? How come we don't all know each other's addresses? How come we aren't constantly telling each other, hey, like, especially for like people who are like double between members and civilians, you do like National Guard, things like that, which is something I'm well versed in, being 14 years Guard. Some of these people don't have cars, but people assume that they should be more well off because they're in like the Army, National Guard, and things like. But it's not the same, or just those various different things. So my program for adults works more as like a I don't know if it's appropriate to say it like that, like therapy. I don't know if that's appropriate to say. If you're a licensed mental health expert, please correct me. But I know that what we do works in that way. It does provide some of that relief, and it does provide some skill training. Because I mean, to tell you the truth, if I have friends who are veterans, same thing I do, and they are equally as successful as I am. And to teach someone even a minute bit of what I do could add extra money to their table, or it could be something that they could use to bond with their children, which is a priority for our brothers and sisters in arms, is to have that bond with their children, considering the fact that we do spend quite an amount of time away from our families. We give more to people we don't know by 10 a.m. than we could ever give to our families in that same amount of time.
And I condone y'all for what the work y'all have done, serving our country. My hats off to y'all. Ms. Wade, I give you your roses. Of course, Anthony, I give you a cigar. Just to make that y'all doing, just giving back to the community. Desiree, that's a beautiful thing. Just having a heart to serve. Because not too many people have a heart like that. They make it seem about me. But y'all willing to put other people over, help them shine, help them feel like they are somebody. And we commend y'all for that. We really do.
Absolutely. And to you, Anthony, as a mental health professional who has a master's in social work, you're dead on with what you're saying. And I love that you guys came on here and even just shared on that side the story of the inner trauma that people don't see. I started with the whole trying to educate myself more about moral injury when I was in Montana, and and it's still not something that people are really fully aware of how that psychologically affects the veterans that are now civilians. And so there's so much that goes into you saying who you were when you entered is not who you can ever be whenever you come out. And so some people say, oh, it made him a better man. It might have, but they're still not the same person that they were when they went in, right? And so we appreciate you guys sharing, and then just even I love that we were able to connect you guys, and this turned out to be so much more than what we had anticipated tonight, and I love it. And so I need that itinerary, Anthony, of your location in Houston in case we decide to do a road trip in Houston when you're there.
I just posted it before I got on here. So it's my most current post. You'll see.
Look, he did
me
that
posting about it
because he knew I was on the podcast, and that means I couldn't stop his thing.
Well, let me know anytime any of you have any events that are coming up. Let me know. I have She Vets It resource page, and so anytime there's events, I usually post it on that. I have She Vets It the regular page, but I also have one just for resources. So any events around the states, feel free to send it my way.
Wonderful.
And
So
go ahead, Miss Williams. I know you mentioned he Vincent. You mentioned that earlier before Ant came on. Go ahead and let Anthony know about that, and y'all can connect on the back end with that.
That's what I was interested in. Let's talk about helping our brothers and sisters.
Yes, definitely. I was sharing earlier that I wanted to do what I'm doing for women veterans. I wanted to do the same for male veterans. He vets it, she vets it. It's more of she or he gets it. And I think it started, I think I shared that one of my good friends, she was in the Air Force and had some mental health challenges getting out the military. But I hadn't yet joined the military. And so when I got to see her, I was like, I didn't know what to say, I didn't understand mental health. I didn't get it. And then I joined the military, and I, went to Afghanistan, lost some people, and went through different changes. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I get it. That's why I put She Vets It, she gets it. And so I wanted to create a community, whether it's for women and then also for our male counterparts, those that support our women veterans and understand, and then also to understand our male counterparts, to let them know that we are not, just because I mentioned male veteran, She Vets It, does not mean I'm leaving my male brothers out, because they have challenges too that we don't shed light on. There are veterans that are male veterans that talk about MST that they've experienced. And I had an NCO that shared about it, and I was like, wow, he really trusted to share that experience that happened to him. And so those are things, just being a voice for our veterans, not just for MST, but just everything, just, bridging the gap with resources and hearing inspiring stories like Anthony that will inspire a veteran that may feel stuck with getting out the military. Like, oh my gosh, I've been in the military for 20 years now. Finding purpose after the uniform, letting them know that no matter the pain, trauma, drama, whatever you went through, God can use all of that you've gone through and can inform a purpose. You can use everything that you've gone through. There's still purpose in. And so a lot of times pushing through that, it's difficult, but there's hope. If you keep pushing, I promise you, there's going to be dark days, but I promise you on the other side, if you keep pushing, there's sunlight. There's going to be sunlight. It rains, but it doesn't rain forever. The sun does come out. But
That's true.
I love
That's
that.
true, and it's funny because I talked about that on my episode. It's been so long I can't even remember. But one of the days that really struck me, that's like, yeah, after this being in the army for, I mean, I hadn't even been in for longer than like 2 months, but like after that one day, I was like, this is one of the most uncomfortable things that will naturally happen in my career. What civilian side could really bother me like that could really rattle me. And what happened was we had to spend, long story short, we spent 3 hours in a rainstorm that we should have been inside. It was not safe for us to be outside, and it was rough. I'm pretty sure it was like flooded for like a few days. The amount of rain it was like freezing cold. We were outside just shivering, standing in formation because somebody left a rifle on a shooting range. I still, there is still rage for that person.
Right. Oh my goodness.
There's still rage for that person because it was 3 hours. I have never been that wet in my life. I had never been that wet in my life. Have you ever seen your fingers prune from rain?
Oh, I can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we had a lockdown on base where someone lost, I forgot, some type of equipment during training, and
It's the worst.
had to uncover the person was never on our side of base, but everybody, lottie-dottie, everybody in every unit had to check every single thing in every building on base.
Every unit, every building, civilian, military personnel, guests, whatever. Every person that is on that base at that moment must be searched. Every room, every nook and cranny of every base that exists on God's earth must be searched until it shows up. And if it does not show up, there is to pay. It is awful. 3 hours in a rainstorm that they would have told you on the news to stay in the house.
Wow.
3 hours. I couldn't even see 2 feet in front. There was so much rain, I couldn't see 2 feet in front of me. It was so much rain that you couldn't even take a deep breath because you probably choke on it. It was going all in my nose, all this stuff. Reason. I've never been that way. Have you ever had your underwear stick to your body and you can't get them off?
Wow.
Damn.
Your socks. You ever had to throw away a pair of shoes because they were worthless now because they were so wet that even once these dry, they're trash. Like, have you ever been that wet in your life? Have you ever been that wet? And that after that day, I said, you know what? I haven't felt cold in the winter. I have not felt this cold in the winter. And that before it rained, it was like 80 something. It was almost 90 degrees. You could smell the rain. It's like it's gonna happen soon. It was a storm. But after that day, it was just like, go ahead.
Did you ever find the weapon? Did you guys find the weapon?
Oh, they found it. The first sergeant found it. And that was not a good morning either. Because of that. He found it, and which was amazing to me because he sped off in like a souped up Corvette, driving like miles down the road to the shooting range. I was like, he does not care about himself because first off, he drove off in a souped up Corvette, like burning rubber. It's awful rain outside. You cannot see two. He does not care about himself. That's how angry.
Wow.
And he was out there for 3 hours looking for this thing by himself. Nobody went with him. So when he came back with it, he
was
like he like chest passed it. He chest passed it to her drill sergeant, and you could hear the thud. It was like you could hear the thud, and his passed it to him, and he walked back in his car, cranked up that loud ass Corvette, and rode again. And
to the storm.
again,
Look,
that morning.
it was in that moment that Anthony knew he could stand behind the words, "You do not come out the same again."
Right. It was that
absolutely. And I just knew at that point, I am now, I won't say I was for the words, but now I understand officially that I'm getting into something that is going to be extreme. At some point in time, extreme things will happen to me, and I have to accept that I am going to be put into extreme situations, and I'm going to be pushed to my. So, like in video games, I leveled up, and at that point, it was like, well, extreme stuff is gonna happen to me. I know what to do, because there's nothing else I could. Like, why should I complain about the extreme things that are going to happen? Point, because this is a wake-up call to understand that extreme happened to me, and I gotta I adapt to them. And from that day, nothing really mattered. Like now, I'm the person at any given time it's raining, I'm just walking, people like, you don't care about getting wet? Like, no.
You don't get triggered by the song "Can You Stand the Rain"?
No, because that makes me think about this podcast is not about.
Podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Totally different podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh
but no, like I don't care. I don't like. There's so many things I don't even care anymore. Like, especially water. Water means nothing to me. Like if I would have to jump in some like really disgusting water to go and get something, I'd just be like, whatever. Just do it. Cause I don't really care anymore. Like water means
3 hours. You're like
being wet doesn't even matter anymore. Like I don't even care. Like at this point, when you know how like you get like used, like if like water splashes on your shirt when you wash dishes and stuff like that. I don't even care no more. I just keep going. Like, if it gets on my pants, I'm like, dang, that's messed up. I just keep going. Like,
wow,
you gotta keep going.
It built character, resilience.
Right.
The military will really develop you, yes, into that person. That person who has like such a character. It really teaches you like there's no point in quitting things unless you're like officially done with them. Like, don't quit because it's hard. Quit because quit because you got all you needed from it.
Right.
It teaches you that it's to make sure whatever you do, you got everything you wanted from it. Don't just give up because it's hard. Find a way. There's always a way, and you just got to figure out what it is. What's hard for you is that you don't know a way to get around this obstacle. And that's the answer that you need. It teaches you how to prioritize your feelings if you have that issue, which may be more difficult for some than others. But it will teach you how to prioritize your feelings, and which is something that I would love to with your organization is to help others to understand. There are ways to do it that are more productive than others. It's not wrong to prioritize your feelings because you have to in the military. Like, I mean, I always say to like my soldiers that I'm in charge of is like, everybody woke up not wanting to be here today. But what I need you to do is put that in your back pocket for these next few hours. And you put that in your back pocket for these next few hours. If you put that in your back pocket for these next few hours, you might actually forget that you woke up like that, and you might find motivation in what you're doing, because we depend on you. And one of the things I always tell them is, look to your left and look to your right. If if you come in here with the attitude of I'm having a, so I'm not going to work, everybody to your left and to your right suffers. Everybody to your left and your right suffers because they came here not wanting to be here, but they showed up not only because of a paycheck, but they showed up because they could depend on you. So if you weren't here, what would that message be? If you weren't, became hoping you would be or expecting you to be. Same thing with myself, being in leadership. If I'm there, that changes the dynamics. If I'm not there without them knowing I'm here, that changes things. If I'm not where I'm supposed to be, when I should be, in the right uniform with the right equipment, that changes this group's ability mentally. Because if I'm not prepared, then that messes up the chain. Now they're not prepared because now they're like, well, what are we supposed to do? We take that information from you. And if you don't have what you need, then how do we have what we need? And that starts this whole mental spiral that kills everything before you can find any physical issues. The mentality is already gone. It's already over. So that resiliency is something that, yeah, you have to deal with, you know, when you don't want to finish. So like people who've never joined the military, it's easy for them to quit a lot of things because more than often there's either somebody to pick up the slack or them quitting doesn't have a consequence to it. So in the military, you will realize that there's a consequence to everything. There's a consequence to success. There's a consequence to failure. There's a consequence to just saying F it, I don't feel like doing it. There's a consequence to all of that, and a lot of those consequences are immediate. But the worst consequences show up sometimes months or years down the road. Somebody didn't do their job, didn't do a proper job at the inventory. Years down the road, that cost the Army millions of dollars. What does the Army do? Well, the Army does an investigation, finds out that you didn't do the report right, and now you owe that money. Do the job the first time, you won't have to do it the second time. Doing proper inspections saves lives. You might find out that there's a piece missing to something that this whole thing would fall apart, and that would have caused a loss of life. Things like that happen a lot.
You know, I was just telling someone today, we were working on something, putting something together, and I was just thinking, like, in the military, like, even our ability to be able to work together as a team and no egos, because if everyone's ego in the military, I think the reason why we have to go through boot camp is because you got to get rid of all these egos. Because egos, people get killed because of egos, because you can't listen to this person or that person because you got to, you know, people get killed because they can't follow directions. You know, you're putting your whole unit or team at harm's way because of ego. You got to be able to lead, and you have to be able to follow as well.
And even a sense of confidence can really hurt a group of people, because when somebody's mentally down, that poses a threat to the group as well. Because this person's lack of motivation could cost lives. There's so many different things that, like, the Army teaches you, because it also builds up those people who don't have that. They don't have it in them. Like, everybody's not born with that. Everybody does not develop that. Some people need a push, and then they can discover this part of them that may or may not have been there in the first place. And I've seen it. I've seen very meek, timid people become very confident, very adept people, and also go from somebody that you would never want in leadership to some of the best leaders you've ever seen. And it's because a lot of them needed, what I like to say is, they needed to understand that there isn't a tomorrow, that basically there is no easy way out. There's no way for them to basically say, oh, well, forget it, another day, or things like that. The Army doesn't have those options. It's you got to get it done because it needs to be done. And that same thing, like that death of those egos, like, you know, I don't know if they kill them. I just think they learn how to maintain them. A lot of people learn how to maintain them and or use them properly. A lot of people who are like highly charismatic sometimes might come off as like a bit arrogant or sometimes like aloof, like they just don't pay attention to anything because they're just so optimistic and things like that. Well, in the Army, they can easily learn to shape that and use that to others' benefit. They can use that charisma to bring up that person who is having a crappy day. They can I have friends that I say are masters of perspective. Somebody could easily be in that type of situation where not feel motivated to get a certain job done. When this person says, well, think about it this way, that 180s that person instantly. That's something that some people discover about themselves after being in. It's something that I was able to something I knew how to do civilian side, but once I got in the military, it helped me to see, oh, this applies everywhere I go. Being able to just say, well, think about it this way. Especially with this newer generation of service members, a lot of them need the why question answered before they get something done. I mean, we see that a lot in young people in general, but it's now into the military too. They need that why question answered before they get something done.
Oh gosh, yeah. You don't realize the kids when you tell them to go clean your room. Why? Pick up that bookcase. Why?
Right.
You know, it starts at a very young age. They always want to know why. Because I told you so. That's why.
That part,
Yeah.
My generation, we didn't ask why. We just like,
no, you just do it. You just do it.
Look, you feared that if you didn't do it, there was consequences.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that changed my leadership style once I came into leadership, because prior to, I actually didn't want to. I just wanted to do my time and get out, but I got bored real fast, like halfway through my career. So I decided to join leadership then. And I had already had my leadership style, like practiced, studied, picked out, if you want to say. And once I actually was pinned and officially in leadership, it was like, yeah, it's not going to serve me the way I wanted to do it. And so I had to pivot, which is something that no matter what branch you serve in, you will understand that whatever plans you had, those plans were laughed at the moment you came up with them. Because your plans, as long as you're serving, your plans are a joke. You will come up with a plan because you need a starting point. But you have to understand immediately you're going to have to adapt and pivot in some kind of way. That original plan is not going to work. 5 minutes after you draft that plan, you need to save some space on that piece of paper to write your new one, because that whole plan immediately is not going to work, because somebody's going to come in the door and say, hey, such and such is sick. That changes the whole plan.
Yeah.
This person broke their arm. They can't drive. Changes the whole plan.
I know.
We're not getting a helicopter. Changes the whole plan.
Yeah, anything can happen.
Like anything, it rained, changes the whole plan. Like it smallest things. Dinner is not at 6 anymore. It's at 7. Changes the whole plan.
Yeah.
Simple things will change an entire plan in any branch you serve in. I promise.
Well,
it can be something small.
I definitely, I've loved even just hearing y'all's stories and just being able to share that. I think that's been an amazing addition for you to come on here tonight, Anthony, and tune in with us. And I absolutely thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And, I know I want to be, of course, mindful of Althea has family that just came in the door while we were on the podcast for her daughter's graduation. So I definitely know that she's got family back there probably saying, hello, when is dinner here? Because they're watching our whole plan.
They're watching a movie now. I can hear them. I seen them come in, dragging. I'm like,
but I definitely want to say thank you, and I hope you two, stay in touch with each other. And
we will.
I would love to be able to just make sure I have the link and tune in to watch what you two now together can collaborate on for the He Vets It and supporting one another. And so if there's anything you guys want to say final before we get off the air tonight, please take this time and share that with us.
Well, thank you so much, Anthony, for jumping on and sharing your story and what you're doing. Oh my goodness. We're veterans, so we could do this all until 3:00, until Jesus.
Oh my God.
Until Jesus wakes up.
Until
Jesus wake back up.
Look, until he come back, because we stay up, we don't go to sleep. So but I surely appreciate and very honored to be here in your space. And for the listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I just hope that those that listen, especially women veterans and even our male veterans, that if you are still trying to figure out your way and where you're at, just know there's life after the military and there's a purpose. It's your new chapter, and it will all come together. I'm telling you, I'm a witness. I can tell you, I've been in the dark side and I see the light. And so I know that there is life outside of the military. So thank you so much for having me here. And if you want to find me, you can find me on shevetsit.com. I'm on all social media platforms. If you want to get a hold of me, you can contact me at info@shevetsit and want to know more about some of the events that I shared. Feel free to email me. Again, thank you so much for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Anthony, do you have anything for us?
Check out shevetsit.com because that's where it's at. That's what you need to be looking at. But I guess my last message would be to our brothers and sisters in arms is if you have something, like you're of some sort of abundance, which all of you are, whether you realize it or not, reach out to your brothers and sisters in arms first, because they need you. But other than that, y'all know where to find me. You can find me on IG. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, all Sneaker Fair Kicks. You can find me there. Once again, go check out shevetsit.com. Get ready for He Vets It. Me and Ms. Williams about to take it over. We're gonna help out as many vets as possible. And what else could I say other than I appreciate the long-term support. I appreciate all the love that I get from the Walk In His Ways podcast. And y'all just keep the faith, man. Like it works out. As long as you believe and you put together a solid plan, it all works out.
Awesome. And I said we'll be back here tomorrow night here on Walking This Way, the Impact Wars podcast. Also check me out in the morning. I am doing a 10 o'clock a.m. show in the morning. And also,
let's go.
We'll be back tomorrow night at 7. So catch the 10 a.m. show and catch the 7 p.m. show on tomorrow night. We got Keisha Sanchez going to be joining in tomorrow night. She from I Am Radio here in the DFW. They had a big event this past weekend. She's going to talk more about that. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, so tune in tomorrow night. Me and Desiree will be back Saturday morning at 10 a.m. as well. Also, Desiree, go ahead and plug in any upcoming events that's also taking place as well. Go ahead.
So mostly I just want to say, carry the load. No matter what state you're in, check that out for this Memorial Day weekend. I know some of it's already been going on, but of course here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they will be having Carry the Load on Sunday and Monday, and that is on Maple Avenue in Dallas. So please come out, support your veterans, support those that have lost loved ones. And, every single, donation helps to give back to these families. There's going to be a lot of good food, and I know a lot of good resources. So if you don't have anything going on this Memorial Day weekend, you can always come join us and eat and just celebrate all of those that have served our country. So please come out, find me. I'd love to say hi to anybody that has watched the show. I will be there for sure. And again, thank you for all the dedication that Althea Williams and Anthony Amos has done for their communities. we have definitely appreciated that. We support them wholeheartedly, and we look forward to seeing how their journey takes them.
And also, like I said, we back here tomorrow here on Walking This Way's Impact Force podcast. Remember the graveyard. Everybody had one thing in common. They thought they were going to see tomorrow, and they didn't. Let's still fly like outside last. Miss Williams, go ahead and enjoy your family. And I know you got some things going on as well. Desiree also. And me and Desiree will be back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Also, don't forget, catch me tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. as well with a very special guest, Marquise Diamond. He just moved here to DFW. He's a book author, publisher, you name it. We're going to chop it up tomorrow in the morning. So check us out, 10 o'clock a.m. in the morning. So we're going to be here. Other than that, me and Desiree back here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. And y'all have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Thank you, guys. Good
Good
night.
night.
Yeah.